Alright, so I just watched the recent episode of Marvel's What If. Today, I was expecting that they will ride the momentum of an awesome episode 2, but instead, we got two nostalgia pops and a Final Destination plot. And I think this is going to be one of the most boring episodes ever produced in all of the MCU Disney Plus series. So before we get into that, I want you to like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow. If you want to let me know what your thinks about what are your thoughts about this episode, kindly leave in the comments. So let's get into Marvel's What If Episode 3, No Earth's Mightiest Heroes, because they got Final Destination. So as I said, this is the Final Destination version of Marvel. So we're gonna see some deaths here, and there's gonna be a mysterious villain that is kind of obvious. It's one of an obvious scene, one of those obvious things that you can practically get out into conclusion. So one, Iron Man donut scene, Iron Man 2. So we got into the point where Natasha's gonna inject a supposed suppressant of Tony Stark's palladium poisoning. It ended up killing him, and because Natasha was the last touch, she is accused of murdering Tony Stark. Hence, she has to hide as an agent. She gets captured by Shield, but she does her normal Black Widow things, uncuffing herself and the likes. Next, Thor got arrowed to the heart by Hawkeye. Hawkeye swore he did not sleep, he was holding his shot, but he released the shot accidentally, and he is allegedly accused of killing Thor while Thor is retrieving the hammer in New Mexico. Hawkeye is now detained in a prison cell where he eventually died without knowing anyone who could have done it. So it's a whole episode of who done it. And from this point, if Hawkeye died without anyone knowing who, it is pretty obvious they have a shrinking tech. So it's either Hank Pym or Hope Van Dyne. Maybe Hope. I thought of her as Hope, maybe a Hydra agent, because in this time, Shield and Hydra are in cahoots, if you know what I mean. So Hawkeye dead. Next is we got a glimpse of Betsy Ross return in the MCU returning. She meets up with Natasha. So Bruce's two lady friends are now meeting up, and it's here that Betsy Ross explained that the serum did not went into Tony Stark's body, which could have been done by autopsy. I don't know why Shield doesn't have an autopsy as good as Betsy Ross. That's another plot hole that I like to point out. And then we get to see Edward Norton, who has Mark Ruffalo's voice. So if they're doing what ifs in this format, on based on their appearance in the respective movie, are we gonna see next time Baby Guy with Don Cheadle's voice if Iron Man 1 gets a what if? I don't know. Maybe. Iron Man 1 is getting a what if, right? Like Tony Stark and Killmonger being body friends, I think. Okay, after that, we've seen Hulk got exploded like how we expected Thanos to be exploded if Ant-Man gets inside his ass. So that's a fan service. Unfortunately, it wasn't the way that the culprit or the perpetrator did. He did not put himself into Hulk's anus and explodes him. No, Bruce Banner was shot. The perpetrator went inside, and that's where the explosion comes out. It was revealed in the end who did it. So we're just going to gradually explain what happened each and every scene. So the only person left alive in the Avengers Initiative is Black Widow. And during this time, because Thor was killed off, Loki invaded Midgard or Earth. But Nick Fury managed to stall some time. So Loki gave him a deadline until sunrise to know who the perpetrator or the assassin that killed Thor. And it was then Black Widow found out by accessing different files who the perpetrator is. As she got suspicions that someone who has been dead for 2 years have access files, and she got attacked by the mysterious assailant. She left out before her death. She left message. It's all about hope, and that should ring a bell to you because Hank Pym's daughter is Hope Van Dyne, so there must be something that happened to Hope, and that's where we put all the pieces together. And Hank Pym is the assailant, and second nostalgia pop in this episode, Hank Pym is Yellowjacket. So those who follow the comics, Hank Pym had some psyche problems where that's where he trashed the Ant-Man and the Goliath suit in favor of the Yellowjacket suit to make him look superior, to make him look stronger. And here we got the same psyche problem since he couldn't cope with the death of Hope Van Dyne, where Fury is standing over her grave. Hank Pym went on to reveal what he did. He was in his Yellowjacket suit and will kill Nick Fury dead in the graveyard where Hope is standing. So, there. I was amazed how Fury was able to deflect Yellowjacket and his shrinking tech, but it all makes sense as it was the Asgardians that Yellowjacket was fighting and not Nick Fury himself. Nick Fury eventually appearing, landing the final blow, Asgardians capturing Hank Pym. And then we went on Loki take a liking on Earth, and eventually 24 hours later he took over Earth. In a span of 1 week, this episode is time framed. So Monday to Friday, it is the craziest week of Marvel based on this What If episode, but it is also the boring. There's no huge risk because in the end, Fury ended up recruiting Captain America and an even more powerful Avenger in Captain Marvel. Plus, there's still War Machine. There's still heroes out there like Vision, Scarlet Witch. Maybe because Tony's dead, there's no Vision, but that's another story of another day. I could have said this. If they want to do Hank Pym justice, they could have easily do a What If special, but Hank Pym invents Ultron instead of Tony Stark. Yes, it is the real storyline in the comics, but we want to see it in the TV, at least in the TV screen, and that could have been a better What If than this thing that we have. The only things that are good is Hank Pym as Yellowjacket. Edward Norton's body makes a cameo. Like that. I think the episode 2 standard was too high. They didn't run it back in episode 3. And that's what I fear about this show. Episode 2 was so good. Episode 3 didn't live up to the hype. That's what happened. And it ended up became boring. Sure, they took a risk on killing off the Avengers, but in the end, they're still Avengers. It's just a different team up. So, since there's Avengers, we may not get Ultron, but we will still get Thanos. Right? Well, the roster is depleted because Hank Pym is captured. There's no Scott Lang, and there's no Wasp because Giant Hope is dead. Well, anyway, that's my opinion on Marvel What If Episode 3. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment your thoughts on this episode. Thank you for watching and goodbye.